Look out, here comes the Spider-Man.
Hello, I'm Kora, and welcome to MediaWhorz. Today we'll be looking at the second film in the Spider-Man franchise, innovatively named Spider-Man 2. The film once again stars Toby McGuire, Kirstin Dunst, and James Franco. We also have the brilliant Alfred Molina in the role of Doc Ock. So, with the power of the sun in the palm of my hand, I throw it to the round table. So, let's start off with the primary plot subject, which is, of course, the battle between Spider-Man and Doc Ock. Now, the first thing that needs to be said is that they fixed a lot of the physics issues that I complained about with the first film.
Except for the fact that Doc Ock did seem to be a little too invulnerable.
Yeah, Doc Ock really shouldn't be able to take that many blows. Spider-Man should just be able to bitch slap him and put him down. Instead, Spider-Man's just wailing on him like some kind of enraged paddle ball. And Ock really shouldn't be able to endure that.
He was restraining himself. The problem with knocking him out with one blow is that you could be causing serious brain damage. Spider-Man knows this and is holding back.
Plus, he knew the man.
Well, even if you take that into account, Doc Ock is given way too much invulnerability. I could understand if Doc Ock was blocking most of the blows, but you even see him fall off of a building and land on a train and then just shrug it off.
Well, you have to take into account the fact that his central nervous system has probably been compromised by the tentacles. They, in all probability, have manipulated his nervous system to hide the fact that he should be in agonizing pain.
Even so, he does take a bit too much damage, and as such, it kinda strains my suspension of disbelief.
Especially when you consider the fact that he's a pudgy scientist.
And I agree, it's nitpicky. In a way, this is even less significant than the physics issues from the first film's fights.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at that bank scene, it has one of my favorite moments, where Ock throws a bag of coins at Spidey. Spider-Man's like, "Fuck this!" He web shoots one of the bags, swings it around, and throws it back at Ock. That scene it showed a good example of good, solid physics.
It did seem to hit him with a good deal of force. I mean, he's got arms to protect him so he doesn't die. Plus, he's got that harness thing around his chest.
Still, one thing that has always frustrated me is that we don't really know what the upper limits of the arms are. They never really tell us.
Of course not. They're plot arms.
I feel that they had just a few too many functions built in as well. Like he has blades built into the heads, and you guys tell me that it's really, a probe, but I mean, they kind of feel like Swiss Army arms, Swiss arms.
Yeah, they have a little mini tentacle that comes out of them at one point, but it's like they're just certain functions that aren't really explained.
And I'm just gonna say it. The scene where he abducts MJ, because, he's a Spider-Man villain, and is therefore contractually obligated to kidnap her, you can't help but think, Tentacle Ray. But if I were to say one thing about this film, it would be that Alfred Molina was brilliantly cast. He truly is a sympathetic villain.
Oh god, I felt for him the entire time. I didn't feel anything for Osborn in the first one, but for Ock? Oh my god.
From the beginning, he's presented as a nice guy. Maybe a little arrogant, but
he's a good man.
He's trying to achieve the best thing for humanity.
And the arrogance he possesses is understandable. That line of his that I referenced.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
It's ominous given the context, but it's not over the top, and it's quite...
It isn't an overstatement in this case.
The first scene where we see Parker and Octavius interacting, they're just sitting there having lunch. It's so innocuous and so normal. He's just sitting there explaining to Peter how to get the ladies.
That's how we first discovered that he's an idiot.
He does not know what he's talking about.
Plus, their interactions bring out Parker's inner scientist, and help to reveal it to the audience. And in doing so, kind of confronts an issue you had with the first one.
It does.
The only point in his entire performance that I had even the slightest issue with was when he was talking to the tentacles. It was just slightly hammy. I would have liked it if it had been toned down just a tad. But really, that is the only chink in the armor. And the scene he has in the hospital is possibly the best in this entire film. I would say there are a few too many tools of the trade in that scene, but the emotions that he conveys are just beautiful.
But another plot thread that receives a lot of focus in this film was the relationship between Parker and Mary Jane.
Still should have been Gwen Stacy. Screw you.
Haters aside, MJ first shows up at a surprise birthday party that Aunt May throws for Peter. She apparently goes through all the effort of inviting all of his friend along with Mary Jane. It's there that she tells Peter that she's both starring in a rendition of Oscar Wilde's The Importance of Being Earnest and has begun seeing someone. So naturally, in a geeky, flustered haze, Parker tells her that he will go to see her next show.
And he gets cock-blocked by Bruce Campbell.
Well, I wouldn't want to take on Bruce Campbell, even if I was Spider-Man.
He's probably hiding a boomstick behind his back.
Plus, he's got the mecha hand.
Jeez, that's worse than the tentacle rape. Long story short, he doesn't get into the play, and instead waits outside, where he gets to hear the second worst rendition of the Spider-Man theme ever performed. The first worst being, well, the original version of the Spider-Man theme.
Is this the one with the Asian chick?
Yeah. The street performer who is playing what I assume is a strangled cat. But when MJ leaves the theater, she leaves with a man whom we soon learn is the son of J. Jonah Jameson Jr., the jaunty jackass of the generation.
Of course, he's being played by J.K. Simmons again, who is just, oh my god, awesome.
And naturally, in a massive, supergalactic fit of irony, Parker is hired by Jonah to be the photographer at a benefit honoring his son.
Who is dating her?
Calm down, it's okay.
And of course, it is at this gathering that they announce their engagement.
That was fast.
Well, we don't know for sure how long it's been since the events of the first film.
Probably at least a year. I've certainly heard of more ridiculous engagements than that.
Ah, Vegas, I've heard of so many stupid marriages taking place there.
And of course, Harry happens to decide at this exact same party to try and be the biggest ass on the planet.
Hello! My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Try?
Well, in the first film, he was just man-filler, but now he's trying to man-fill the shoes of his father.
Ew.
He's trying to incorporate aspects of Willem Dafoe's performance into his own, and failing miserably.
I'm ruined. I have nothing left except Spider-Man.
And I have ridiculous monologues. Oh, the monologues.
And the thing is that really didn't have to be a monologue. It would work if you toned it down and directed his lines at his driver.
Look, I really don't mind James Franco as an actor. I've heard he's been quite good in other films, but in this one, he is easily the weakest performance. I don't know if he was pressured to act like that, or if it was his own take on the character, but it doesn't work. At any rate, Parker ends up leaving what I am assuming to be the worst party of his life, a spot previously held by his latest birthday, and he goes web-swinging for a bit when suddenly his powers crap out.
That's not actually the first time it happened, though. There was the time that he fell onto a roof and was forced to take the elevator down. That was an example of expertly crafted camp, and I sort of wish Spidey would have more lines like he did there.
Looks uncomfortable.
It gets kind of itchy. It rides up in the crotch a little bit, too.
That's actually hilarious.
He realizes that his powers are rapidly fading, and that it's due to his emotions screwing up his own biology. And so it's at this point that he gets fed up and ultimately decides that he no longer wants to be Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's actually kind of happy he lost the powers. He's kind of like, fucking I can live now!
But really, he was at his lamest when he decided he didn't want to be Spider-Man anymore. I mean, they could have incorporated, and I hate this phrase, geek chic into his appearance. Make him look a little more like a member of Weezer than, the white version of Urkel.
Urkel.
Many eons ago, he was foretold that he would come and break your coffee tables and hit on your attractive teenage daughters.
Wait, who's Weezer?
Yeah, I was gonna ask.
Seriously? One of the first emo bands, back when that was still a good thing? Major rock band? Been around for like 18 years? They performed here 2 months ago. Fuck you guys.
I know who they are.
Anyway, the worst part is when he tries to use some of Otto Octavius's advice and use poetry to woo Mary Jane.
Jeez, what was that, Longfellow?
Yeah, seriously, that line is too sappy, and the way he delivers it is just... I mean, really? You have all of English lit to draw upon, and you go with that line? You could go with Hemingway, Frost, Axl Rose, but you go with that?
But there is one pathetic excuse for an attempt at being heartfelt. Bring up the line.
I'm different. Punch me, I bleed.
Stab me, I die.
Okay.
Caveman.
Hey, at least I gave you a full res. There's no need to be angry.
I'm going to move on, as I kinda think this whole scene is a bit of a Phoenix Downer.
Oh my god.
We do need to give a bit of a shout out to Rosemary Harris for her role as Aunt May. She has a little plot thread about her not being able to keep up with her debt. Apparently for Ben, great responsibility didn't include having good life insurance.
Yeah, she knows the role she's given, and she does it really well. And the speech she gives that was also used in the trailers was just spectacular. This film also had a lot of notable cameos in it. In order to try and keep track of these, we're introducing our brand new
cameo counter.
We have, of course, Stan Lee as Man Dodging Debris, Emily Deschanel from Bones as a receptionist, Danielle Williams from Chappelle's Show playing, "He stole that guy's pizzas!" There's Asif Manvi of The Daily Show as the Indian pizza manager, and of course, Bruce Campbell as Bruce Campbell and telling Peter that he's stupid.
Well, to wrap up, this film, in many ways, confronted a massive number of the complaints that we had with the first one. It's not a perfect film, but for a while, it was one of the best superhero films in existence, I'd say. And I think the only reason that it may get overlooked a bit these days is because of the outpouring of high-quality superhero films that we have seen in the last few years. So I'm going to give it an Abduct a Friend, which is essentially an 8 out of 10. And it's the kind of film where you are justified in forcing your friends to watch it.
I would also give it an Abduct a Friend. I like this film so much better than its predecessor. It didn't have the quirky physics, the fights made more sense, and despite the annoyance of the man filler, there was excellent character development.
I'm really on the borderline. I love this movie. It is possibly my favorite of the earlier superhero movies. I will watch it anytime. I will grab a friend and force their face into the screen if they haven't seen it. I'm going to give this the highest possible Abduct a Friend.
I like this movie. It was a really good movie. I'm still gonna be giving it a really high bargain bin. On the verge of Abduct a Friend.
Well, with 3 Abduct a Friend ratings and 1 bargain bin, the MediaWhorz consensus is Abduct a Friend. So, with great power comes great responsibility. But with no responsibility comes great fun. So, see you next time.
I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. We would be warm below the storm in our little hideaway beneath the waves.